Welcome back to the
Our Lives, Their Crimes podcast. We're your hosts, River and
Hannah, and this is the segment Crimes on Our Mind. In our segment Crimes on Our Minds, we talk about true crime cases that we think need to be talked about and that we find interesting.
We talk about gruesome and sensitive topics, so if that's too much for you, go and look at our other segment, our weekly FaceTime calls.
Let's get to today's case. The case that I want to talk about today has been a big one in the media. Everybody has their opinions about it. Everybody has their opinions on whether justice was served or not. You're kind of like not in the middle. I heard that people who actually live where this took place are like fighting with each other, like with their families about like
That's crazy.
what side that they're on. Yeah, so that is the murder of John O Keefe, aka the Karen Reed trial. I actually wasn't going to talk about this, but I had told my mom the verdict of the second trial, and she was like, had a different opinion than me, and so I started telling her like, well, what about this piece of evidence, and what about this piece of evidence, and she didn't know. So I was like, okay.
Maybe we should talk about it.
Yeah, if my mom doesn't know, like, other people aren't gonna know.
Because your mother is obsessed with true crime.
Right, like, I was surprised. And I feel like it really has to do with literally, like, what kind of news you watch, and I'm not saying she watches a particular kind of news, but you get all your information from certain articles and stuff. So this case is kind of for my mom, so that she can kind of get all the information in one. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the death of John O Keefe and the trial of his girlfriend, Karen Reed. John O Keefe was born December 8th, 1975. He was 46 years old and worked as a Boston police officer. His badge number was 2490. A lot of his family and friends describe him as just a really sweet, nice, gentle guy. After the death of his sister and his brother-in-law in 2013, he took in his niece and nephew, like, without a hesitation. Like, everybody said that was just kind of the guy he was. Karen and John met at a birthday party in 2004 and briefly connected. I do believe that they were together, like, in 2004 because in 2020, he was messaging a ton of his ex-girlfriends back in the height of the pandemic, and Karen Reed was the only one who responded.
So if he was texting all of his ex-girlfriends back, she was probably
an ex-girlfriend. Yeah, because I couldn't like find a source saying like, yeah, they were definitely together. I just saw that that's when they met. But if he's texting all his ex-girlfriends, I'm assuming she was one. Like, they were involved some way. After that they rekindled, they started a relationship. Karen Reed was born February 26, 1980. She grew up in Massachusetts. I can't say this.
Massachusetts?
I can't say that. She graduated Bentley University and was a professor there teaching finance. John and Karen reportedly had a good relationship. They fought about, like, normal relationship stuff. That's pretty much it for background.
Interesting.
Let's fast forward to January 28th, 2022.
Okay.
Karen and John fought that morning. I'm gonna cut that part out. About what she fed his niece for breakfast. But by the nighttime, they were
over it.
Yeah, because they did meet up at a bar called C.F. McCarthy's at 8:51. The town was preparing for a big blizzard. Like, they had called it a weather emergency, telling everybody to stay put in their house because there was going to be a whiteout blizzard, like, awful conditions.
Like, several inches of snow.
Yeah. But they didn't listen, and they met up at the C.F. McCarthy's bar at 8:51. They both had a few drinks and then headed over to the Waterfall Bar, arriving at 10:54. At the Waterfall Bar were friends and local officers, Jen and Matt McCabe, Brian and Nicole Albert, and there was a few other people there. They are all drinking, and at closing call, everyone decides to go over to the Alberts to continue the party. I guess his son was having a party there, like, for his birthday, so they all just wanted them to come over and, like, join the party.
Okay.
So they all get into their cars. I'd like to point out that these are police officers who all get in their car, extremely intoxicated, and drive over to the Alberts house. Karen's SUV was seen on a security camera at 12:16, headed to the Alberts house. It's only 2.5 miles from the waterfall, but Jen McCabe calls twice, presumably to give directions to the house, but both of those calls were deleted. Now, here's where two different stories are going to start to form, neither of which makes sense.
Yep.
Like, even if you believe in one story or the other,
there are some things that just don't
add up in each of them. John and Reed arrive at the house at 12:24. Reed says she has a stomach ache / doesn't know if they're welcome.
So both? I'm confused.
Yeah, well, she first says she has a stomach ache. Then she says she doesn't know if they're welcome. Now, if you were to ask her, she says it was a little bit of both.
Okay.
So Karen claims she watched John walk to the door, but doesn't see him, like, actually go in. He just, like, walks to, like, the breezeway part. Then she waits a few minutes. He doesn't come out. Then she starts to get irritated. After, like, 5 to 10 minutes, she is pissed. So she claims that she left and sent him some very aggressive voicemails.
John, I'm here with your kids. Nobody knows what the you want, pervert. Yes, 1 in the morning, I'm with your niece and nephew. You pervert. You're a pervert. I'm going home. I cannot babysit your niece. I need to go home. You are using me right now. Another girl, he's sleeping next to me. You're a loser. Self.
She's, like, really upset for just, like, waiting in the car.
Yeah, so prosecution's theory is that they got into a fight in the car, and then she intentionally let him get out of the car and then backed her car into him.
Like, ran him over?
Yeah.
What time did she claim to be home?
So her phone connects to John's house Wi-Fi at 12:36.
It's only, like, 10 minutes after they arrived to the house, though.
Correct. Which, hitting someone with your car doesn't take a long time, but to me it's weird she sends so many voicemails if she knows he's, like, laying out there dead.
Yeah.
Now, Jen McCabe claims she saw Karen's SUV pull up, and she sends some text to John. 12:27, here, ? 12:31, pull behind me. 12:40, hello. She claims she's looking out the door and sees the SUV move at 12:40.
But I feel like if you see him standing out there, wouldn't you just walk out and see what's happening?
Right, like, if you were outside in a car and I'm texting you, why wouldn't you just walk out and be like, hey, are you guys okay? Weird. She claims she's looking out the door and sees the SUV move at 12:40.
But Karen Reed's phone connects to John O Keefe's house at 12:56. 36.
Right. More communication from Jen to John. A call at 12:41, later deleted. Another call at 12:41, again deleted. 12:42, where are you? 12:40, a call at 12:43, later deleted. 12:45, hello. She then claims the SUV pulled away at 12:45. Then 3 calls, all deleted, at 12:46, 12:47, and 12:50.
Why does she keep deleting them?
I don't know. And she claims that she didn't delete any of them. Yeah.
It's not like Ghost deleted them for you.
Well, and it's just like none of her information line up with, like, the actual facts. In a voicemail that Karen leaves for John at 12:42, you can literally hear her walking around.
Yes.
Like, on the floor. Like, obviously she's not in the car. Right. So her story doesn't line up with the actual factual things
Yeah.
that we
Do
have.
they like look at her phone and see what time the texts were sent, or is that just what she's claiming?
Well, that's when the text was sent. She's claiming she saw him
Oh,
leave at 12:45.
but she had already connected to the Wi-Fi, so she was home.
Right. So it's not lining up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we know happened the night of. Karen says she falls asleep. Everyone claims they left the party, went home, and were all asleep by around 2 to 3. This is until the next morning, around 4 a.m., when Karen wakes up and realizes that John's not home.
Did she just like assume that he would eventually come home like that night?
Yeah, I guess. So she had left a voicemail saying she was going to leave his niece and nephew by herself. So she said
by
that...
themselves.
Oh, yeah, by themselves. So she said that when she woke up at 4 a.m. and he wasn't there, like, her mind went to the worst. Like, she called Carrie Roberts, one of their close friends, and actually said that John was dead. She then calls Jen McCabe, is talking to Jen McCabe, and they all agree to meet up and try to look for John. Now, Jen McCabe, Carrie Roberts, and Karen Reed all go back to John's apartment to look for him. Now, I was kind of confused because I was like, she was just there. Wouldn't she know he's not there? But Karen Reed claims that this was Jen McCabe's idea, just to make sure that he wasn't passed out somewhere.
But I feel like they should just, like, she was at that house all
Right.
night, was looking around for him before she, like, freaked out. So,
Yeah, like, I feel like she would know.
I feel like you would see a grown man
Right.
passed out somewhere in the house. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
So after that, after they search his house and he's not there, they head over to 34 Fairview Road. On the way there at 5:55, Jen calls Julie Albert, the homeowner's daughter. So as they are pulling up to 34 Fairview, Karen starts screaming and like kicking the doors, claiming she can see John's body in the snow.
But there's a blizzard outside actively happening.
Yeah, so Jen McCabe says she literally couldn't even see, like, the hand in front of her, let alone, like, a grown man's body, like, 50
hidden
feet.
under the snow.
Right. But either way, Karen goes over and finds John laying in the snow. She says she actually, like, picks a piece of glass from his face. And finally, at 6:03, Jen calls 911.
911 is under order emergency. Hello?
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you come to 34 Fairview Road in Houston?
34 Fairview?
Yes, there's a man unresponsive in the snow.
Okay. What else?
He's got to get here, okay?
Okay. What's going on? Is he face down?
We just flipped him over.
Okay. And who's that in the background? Is that someone related?
That's his girlfriend. His name is John O Keefe.
Okay, how old is he?
John is 46 years old.
46. How long has he been outside?
I don't know. I don't know. He got out of the car and
Is he breathing?
a couple of hours. Is he, Carrie? Is he? I don't know if he's breathing. There are two women trying to into his body and they're hysterical.
Okay, can you just try asking? I know it's tough, but we have to get the fire department going. They just got to know.
Okay. Is he breathing, you guys? It doesn't seem to be breathing.
Okay, do they know how to do CPR? Do they want to attempt CPR?
Yes, he's got to do CPR. No, I guess he's gone.
Okay, they don't feel comfortable doing so?
No, I think he's passed away.
At 6:07 and 6:08, Jen McCall's Nicole both answered, both deleted. Police show up and take both John O Keefe and Karen to the hospital because Karen is claiming that if John dies, she's going to take her own life.
Which she probably wouldn't say if she killed him.
Right, that's what I thought, but I don't know. Now, we will get into all the evidence and investigation when we talk about the trial, but John is declared dead and Karen is arrested February 1st and charged with motor vehicle manslaughter, motor vehicle homicide and leaving the scene of a collision causing death.
So 3 days after they found the body, she was
Yes.
arrested. Like, how did they even do that? Like, I feel like, how do you know that she, 3 days later, without, like, investigating? Unless they did investigate.
Yeah, we're going to get into
sorry.
all of that a little bit later and what led them to
Arrest her the first time.
Correct. Karen secures David Yannetti, Alan Jackson, and Elizabeth Little as her attorneys and pleads not guilty. She is again arrested on June 10th with upgraded charges of second-degree murder.
Why they upgrade them?
People think that they were trying to scare her into a plea deal.
Mm.
Because, like, vehicular manslaughter just means that, like, you were driving recklessly and it ended up causing harm to somebody. Second-degree murder is, like...
You murdered somebody.
Right, like, you knew when you backed your car into him that he was going to die. Like, it's not just...
Yeah.
Okay, stay with me. Let's talk about trial. Let's talk about evidence. This is where everything comes out, and two different stories are really coming to light on what happened and what's the truth. The Commonwealth, the people charging Karen, claims that Karen and John got into a fight in the car. John left the car with a cocktail glass that he had taken from the waterfall. She then intentionally backed her car into him, striking him and leaving him in the cold to die. Their evidence to support this theory is that Karen's right side taillight was broken. Pieces of the taillight were recovered in the Alberts' home. In the Alberts' yard. Now, the weird thing about these pieces of broken taillight was that none were actually found the morning that John was found. They were all found later in the day when the CRT team started their investigation and search in the yard. The thing also about that is that the CRT team didn't find any of her broken taillight until Karen's SUV was seized by authorities. Now, I know that sounds crazy. Like, what I'm claiming now is that, like, for that to make sense, it would only make sense that a police officer, seized her car, took taillight pieces off of it, went to the Alberts' house, and planted evidence.
And I would like to point out that all of them are police officers, so it would be easy for them to do that. Like,
right, they did have the means, but it definitely is a very crazy statement to say that. But what if I told you that in a shocking moment in court, with the piece of the Commonwealth's own evidence, it showed the lead investigator not only near her right side taillight, but actually, like, fidgeting with her right side taillight. And the camera footage that actually shows that angle where he is missing.
Who's he? Just like a police officer?
Yeah, we're gonna get into it.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
That's wild.
Yeah, so Karen's car is seized by Michael Proctor, the lead investigator, and arrived at the police station around 5:30 p.m. The Commonwealth actually plays the video in court to show, oh, look, the Michael Proctor nor any police officer go near her right side taillight. But when cross-examination happens, Alan Jackson points out that the word police on one of the police cars is flipped. Which means that
someone messed with the camera footage.
The camera footage is mirrored. So not only did it show a police officer going near her right taillight, it showed the lead investigator for several seconds behind her right taillight, just moving his hands. Now again, there's camera footage right pointing on that side of the garage, but that camera footage for those specific minutes are missing.
They're missing. Isn't that illegal to do?
Yes.
Yes.
Tampering with evidence is illegal. Now, let's talk about Michael Proctor. and the integrity of this investigation. From the beginning of this investigation, he was talking to his family, his friends, and his bosses incredibly inappropriate about Karen Reed.
She's a whack job. Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. No nudes so far.
He even says at one point he wishes Karen would just kill herself and makes fun of her condition, MS. Now, Michael Proctor was investigated by the FBI for certain practices that he was doing. Certain things were coming to light, and he was fired from that position, which kind of tells you a little bit about what the integrity of his investigation.
Was he arrested or just fired?
Just fired. Now, more evidence. So, also, all of the evidence that was secured that morning was crazy. They took red Solo cups from a neighbor's house to collect John's blood in the snow. They were, to get like evidence, they were taking a leaf blower to leaf blow the snow. They also put the evidence, not in an evidence bag, they put it into like a grocery bag and took it back to the police.
Say what? No. Wait, who were the police officers working at the scene?
So none of them like were directly connected to like John or anybody in the house, but that is like what they were told to do by their investigator or whoever was in charge. So, just goes to show. Let's talk about the autopsy and the crime scene.
Okay.
John's body was found on the left side of the Alberts lawn by the flagpole. He died of blunt force trauma to the back of his head and hypothermia. He had bruised knuckles, black eyes. He had deep lacerations to his arms, and his eyes were like completely swollen shut. Now, at the very beginning of the investigation, when David Yannetti just thought that maybe Karen did hit John with her car and it was just like a bad accident, he actually got a tip. One day at his office, somebody called him and said, "Your client is innocent. You need to look at the people who were in the house that night."
Anonymous tip?
An anonymous tip, correct. John O Keefe was beaten up by Brian Alberts and his nephew, Colin Alberts, and was dumped on the front lawn by a federal agent. Yeah.
That's what the anonymous tipper said?
Yeah. So, eventually they tracked this guy down.
What?
Yeah. So, eventually they tracked this guy down and find him. And he completely retracts his statement. He's like, "Oh, I don't know. I just thought that because of the autopsy photos, which had not been released yet." So he completely recanted his story. But
do you think he was scared that, like, if he was talking in person, like, they found out who it was, then it would get back to...
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's scary. But it gets the balls rolling, and they start taking a look at the people inside 34 Fairview Road. And that is the story that they bring to trial.
Yes.
They claim that John did go inside the house that night. There was some type of fight between Brian Alberts, Brian Higgins, Colin Alberts, who actually had bruises on his knuckles. And when asked about this, he said he slipped and fell on ice. Which,
your knuckles?
How do you slip and fall on your knuckles?
And, I mean, I think when you look at somebody's knuckles, you can tell if it happened by, like, sports or doing something else, or if you were punching somebody.
Right.
You can tell.
And I feel like it's not talked about that John O Keefe's knuckles were bruised. Like, I saw the autopsy photos. Like, his knuckles were bruised.
Do you think he was, like, fighting back at first?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll leave our opinions to the end. The Alberts had a dog. They had a German Shepherd named Chloe, which the defense claims attacked his arms, causing those lacerations to his arms. Dr. Russell, an expert in dog bites, takes the stand to say that She has seen many dog bites and many attacks, and these look exactly like him. Like, the lacerations on his arms are very consistent with a dog attack. Now, when the defense tries to go get the dog to, do some tests, they're trying to see what kind of nails she has, they find out that the Alberts actually got rid of the dog. Now, the Alberts claim she had attacked another dog, and that's why they got rid of the dog, but just weird behavior.
Weird. Yeah.
Now, it goes to show that John was swabbed for dog DNA, which they didn't find any, but they found pig DNA, which the defense claims could be from dog treats from a dog's breath.
That makes sense.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, each side had an expert come in and testify that either his injuries were caused by a car accident or were not. Now, it does go to say that the prosecution's expert that testified that his injuries were consistent with a car accident completely cracked during cross-examination. We actually found out that he didn't even have a degree in any kind of science or math that would make him credible. He literally just had a degree in criminal defense, like justice. So there was just zero credibility to what he was actually saying.
It must be so, embarrassing to, make up a story to get someone in jail and then have it, come apart in front of jurors and, the judge. And just,
Right. Literally when I was watching cross-examination, this guy, he's like, every time Alan Jackson asked him a question, he would contradict himself. And I was like, if I was on the jury, case over for me. He literally can't definitively say that this was caused by a car accident.
Because if you had, for, experts that do go up on the stands and know what they're talking about, they have the science to back it up.
Right. Yeah, there's no science. There's no data to back anything up. Now, John's Apple Health data shows that at 12:28, it tracks John walking 80 feet and up 3 flights of stairs, which is exactly consistent with Karen's story that he went in at 12:28. And the Alberts had 3 stories. They had a 3-story house, which this is the only information that actually lines up with another person's story. Now, the Apple Health data is it's not the most credible. Apple Health data has a history of being a little bit shaky. But to me, this information matched up. It was very eye-opening.
Yeah, if it's not exact, it lines up. Sort of,
right.
Kind of. Even if it's not the exact lining up, it does, make
It lines
sense.
up with another story.
Yeah.
And we don't get that very much in this story. Now, let's talk about some data and stories that just don't line up. Jenna McCabe takes the stand to talk about what happened that night. And the defense has a lot of questions about some Google searches that she made the night of. She had made some Google searches about basic things like, basketball teams that her daughter's going to play at. And then at 2:27, she Googles, how long to die in cold.
Or what they think she meant to say was how long to die in the cold.
Right. And then again, she Googles it at 6:23 when they were standing in front of John's body. Now,
why would she Google it twice?
So she claims that she opened the browser at 2:27, but didn't actually Google anything till the next morning when they found John's body, because she claims that Karen's asking her, how long does it take to die in the cold? Look up how long it takes for hypothermia to set in. And that's when she Googled it.
But when you look at Google search history, it shows you times, the exact.
Right. So
times.
they did have 2 experts testify that she did just open the browser at 2:27, turned her phone off. Then the next morning, when she went to Google how long to die in cold because Karen asked her, it just said it was at 2:27. But then they have another expert who says, no, you're just looking at the wrong, iOS, I guess. With Jen's phone's updates, it would show you, no, this was Googled at 6:23. Now, the only person who claims that she heard Karen say, Google how long it takes to die in the cold, is Jen McCabe. Carrie Roberts actually did testify that she did hear her say that, like, hear Karen ask Jen, Google how long it takes, but then retracted her statement and said she lied on the stand.
Which you can go to jail for. And
Yeah. So she retracts her statement. So both Karen Reed and Carrie Roberts, the girl who found John's body, one of the women who found John's body, both claim nobody said that. So, very interesting. Now, they also have some questions about some phone calls that she made that night and that morning. They ask her about the phone calls she made to John at 12:14. She claims those were butt dials.
You called him, like, a lot of times that night. Like,
she did. And she claims all of them were butt dials. She called Nicole Albert after they found John's body, and they talked. It was answered. They talked for about 22 seconds. It was then deleted. She claims that was a butt dial.
I don't know about y'all, but I don't butt dial anybody. Like, I think I've done it one time in the 4 years I've had a phone.
Yeah, I have an iPhone, and I think I've done it a total of 2 times.
Yeah.
In my entire life. And have had it done to me, like, 2 times.
Yeah.
But no, not today. She butt dials, like, 12 times.
Yep. And even though the call
is
was
answered. She also butt answered.
Yeah, she also didn't answer the phone call. Yeah.
Right.
No one. Yeah.
Yeah, neither of them talked.
No.
Oh, and then it had to have butt hung up.
Yep.
Like, your butts really have fingers or something, because I'm confused on what's going on.
Yeah. Like,
we'll talk more about some more butt dials. Brian Higgins, the federal agent in the house that night, who also had an inappropriate relationship with Karen Reed, he had to read his and Karen Reed's text messages
on the stand
in front of everybody. We'll play it here for you.
Oh, you're just my type. I responded, you think you can handle me?
He's like, yeah. He's like, you're hot. And then she was like, blah, blah. And he's like, are you interested in me or not? And then she was like, yeah, I am. And he was like, what do you like about me? And she's like, I just like your type. And he was like, it was so embarrassing.
Does he have a wife?
Yeah, and they kissed too. No, Brian Higgins doesn't, but Karen Reed was still dating. What's his name? Okay. Yeah, embarrassing. Like,
that's
how embarrassing
terrible.
would it be to, like, have to read your flirty text messages out in front of everybody? I'd be embarrassed if I was Karen Reed, too.
Yeah, because she had a boyfriend.
Yeah, that doesn't make her look too good. Brian Higgins also has some phone calls that people want to know about. He calls... Oh, no, I don't want to frame it like that. Brian Higgins actually leaves the house and goes to the police station at 1:30 in the morning.
Interesting.
He's intoxicated, drives his car to the police station. He claims to move vehicles that he said he would move so that the parking lot could be plowed. But he does, like, go into the building. Then he moves 2 vehicles, he goes home, and he claims he went to bed. But that's not what cell phone record shows.
More butt dials.
At 2:22, Brian Alberts calls Brian Higgins, goes unanswered. Then Brian Higgins calls Brian Alberts back. This time it is answered. They talk for about 22 seconds, and then they hang up.
They claim.
Now, they both claim these are butt dials. He butt dialed.
But answered, but hung up.
Yep. Yeah, they but and it's not even like to me it's like, why isn't your phone locked? Both of your phones should be turned off, locked, like.
Also, if when I go to bed, I put my phone on my charger on my nightstand.
Right. My phone even if my phone is in
my bed,
it's like
under my pillow.
Yeah, exactly.
Which your pillow is too thick for your head to like. I don't know, like call somebody.
Yeah.
Like what?
You want to know some other interesting stuff?
I would love to know.
Brian Higgins actually destroyed his SIM card and his phone in a military base and got a new one.
In a military base?
Yeah, he drove all the way out to a military base. He snapped his SIM card in half. He destroyed his phone.
And then went and bought a new one?
And bought a new one. And when asked about this, he said, "Oh, no, I was part of an investigation, and the client found out, like, my phone number. So you change your phone number."
You can keep your phone and your SIM card and change your phone number.
Exactly.
Babe, what are you doing?
It was in, like, what is going on?
Okay, first, like, okay, whatever, if that story's true, why drive all the way to a military base? Just
right, in the
do it
middle
at
of nowhere.
home.
It's, like, in the middle of the desert.
It's not that serious.
No. So a few other things that I don't really know where to fit in here, but that are just literally absurd. I wanted to talk about before we talk about the results of the trial.
Uh-huh.
So the Alberts relaid their concrete in their basement and sold their home, which they claim they were going to sell their home anyway, and it just so happened to be a few months after.
Okay, the
This
concrete thing doesn't make sense, though.
No.
Unless, hear me out, they're serial killers, and for some reason, there's dead bodies under their freaking thing, or something like that. I
Or
don't know.
you can't wash blood off of concrete. It stains.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they just laid concrete over it.
That makes more sense, guys. Sorry. I was like,
McCabe's daughter actually takes the stand and slips up and says, "Colin was not there when John was there. I thought that John never came into the house."
that's crazy.
So you're saying
He was there, but
Colin wasn't there.
I thought y'all were going with he just never came in the first place.
Yeah, she slipped up a little bit.
What did defense say about that?
They didn't catch her in it. It's just an after the fact. People said that maybe it just wasn't, like, the wording, like, Colin was never there when John was outside. Colin was never, but...
Oh, like, all she said was Colin wasn't there when he was there because he was at the house.
Right, but to me, it sounds like...
I slipped up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky was the plow driver that was plowing their street that day. He drove by their house at 2:45 and never saw a body. Never saw a body laying out in the snow. So if there was no body laying out there at 2:45, then case closed, like, he's in the house.
Yeah.
There also was, I forget his name, there was a guy who was going to pick up his sister, and he saw Karen in her car alone, and John was not outside. Which could only mean he was inside the house.
I always hate cases like this because there's so many stories and, like, the person that, like, lived it themselves aren't here to, like, say what actually
just
happened.
talk about it. Like, so as you can see, this is a lot of evidence.
Yes.
The Karen Reed trial was a big movement. She had hundreds and thousands of people outside the courtroom every single day in pink with signs, shouting "Free Karen Reed."
Why pink?
I guess she just said that she liked the color pink. Well, so basically, they were told that they were not allowed to wear any signs or have any signs because the jurors went through that way, so they didn't want the jurors seeing, like, all the signs. So they all decided to wear a color, and Karen chose pink.
Oh,
yeah, so they all wore pink. A popular name in this case is the Turtle. He was a blogger who blogged about the Karen Reed trial. He had some interesting tactics. I mean, at one point, he went to one of Jen McCabe's kids' games and, like, called her a cop killer, you know, like, literally filmed her, went off on her. Yeah. And what made me really sad is that this case turned into like John versus Karen, and it's like not John versus Karen. It's, you know, John's life was taken, and they're trying to figure out who did it.
And I just want to point out that, like, you're doing your job. I get it, but don't harass children.
Right. Yeah, like the children didn't
what are
do
you
anything.
doing?
Yeah. Well, and also, like, I'm going to leave my opinions till the end, but Jen McCabe was not on trial for killing John O Keefe.
So why are you following her daughter?
Right. He had very interesting tactics. I do think that the story needed to be told, and like, I'm going to leave my opinion out of it until the end, but his tactics and the way he did things, people really had some conversations about.
Yeah.
Now, Karen's first trial started April of 2024 and ended in a mistrial because the jurors just couldn't agree on whether she was guilty or not guilty.
Because male and female jurors, I feel like, usually have different opinions on trials like this.
Yeah. I would like to see that, like, how many, which jurors, like, wanted her guilty, which wanted her not guilty. She was charged again, recharged. They retried her. It started in the beginning of April 2025.
She pled not guilty?
She pled not guilty, and she was found not guilty of second-degree murder on June 18th, 2025. As she was leaving the courtroom, she had a few things to say. One of them was, "No one has fought harder for justice for John O Keefe than I have and my team." Which I think that was a good way to go out.
Yeah, for sure. If that's the one thing you're going to say, that was a good thing to say.
Yeah. She was found guilty of driving under the influence, which she did.
But she got time served for that, yeah?
I think so. Well, no, she didn't serve any time. They just recommended probation.
Well, she was, after the mistrial, they put her in jail until the next trial, or did she just have, like, an ankle monitor?
No, she was released.
Oh, okay, that's good.
To me, it's like if she is guilty of DUI, then everybody else is too.
Yeah.
Because everybody else, literally, you have footage of them drinking and driving. Now, Karen is not done with her legal matters yet. She is facing a wrongful death lawsuit filed by the John O Keefe's family, which they actually think it might go in the family's favor. They're asking for $500,000.
From who?
From Karen and the two other bars that were involved.
Why Karen? She was found not guilty.
Yeah, but so basically, if you're not... There's a difference between a civil court and criminal court. So she was found not guilty in criminal court, but in civil court, it's just about, like, money.
Oh, okay.
And the burden of proof, so that means, like, the proof that she did it is a lot less. So they think it might go actually in the family's favor. Karen's parents told WBZ-TV that they are focused on trying to get back to normal, and even touched on Karen writing a book.
Oh, where are the niece and nephew?
So they're actually involved in the lawsuit. We haven't heard much about them since they've spoken.
Do you know how old they are?
I do not.
Different clothes.
We had to we recorded it, and then we had to take a break because
I had to be home by a certain time.
Yeah, so now we're basically just finishing up, like, our final thoughts about what's going on.
Yes. So
we're talking about his nieces and nephews. I couldn't get an age on them, but I do know that they are involved in the lawsuit against Karen. I think my biggest opinions in this case is that I just want justice for, like, John O Keefe. He is, like, the true victim. He's the one who died. Anybody else is kind of irrelevant. Like, I want to bring the people
I don't think it was
justice.
I don't think it was Karen Reed. I think that it was other people.
I do think it was the people inside those houses, and so I do hope that they're held accountable. I sadly don't think that's going to be the case, but I think that this case got so far away from the victim. Yeah, like, person who died, and that's who we should be talking about. His name should be everywhere, and instead we see Karen Reed, Jen McCabe, Brian Higgins, and I'm like, yes, I want to know the story, but
he's the one who died. So
Right. It's not John O'Keefe versus Karen O'Reed. It is justice for John O'Keefe. And if it was
Yeah.
Karen Reed, then I would want justice for Karen. Like, I'd want
Yeah.
her to be. As always, we will give updates.
Yeah.
Anytime that it comes out. All of our sources will be linked in our show notes if you want to know where we got our information. Again, I think I just want to say I'm sorry to John O'Keefe, his family. I do feel bad for Karen Reed that she went through so much and was ultimately not convicted. I think this case is just overwhelmingly sad and misused.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week. River's going to be covering the Menendez brothers, everything going on that because they might get out soon. So.
Yay!
Okay.
Go check out our other our weekly FaceTime call. Come out with a new episode every Sunday, so make sure you go and watch that and catch up with our lives.
Follow us on all social medias. I will have it on the screen and linked below. We post pictures. We post what's going on in our life, what's going on in the victims' lives, and the families' lives. We'll just be posting updates on all of our socials.
Yep. Okay.
Alrighty. Well, from their crimes
to our crazy lives.
That's a wrap.